What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Talk. Today, let's get started with Belal Muhammad has officially addressed his recent loss to Ian Garry, releasing a heartfelt statement that reflects both humility and determination. Sharing a photo on his Instagram, Belal expressed gratitude, accountability, and an unwavering belief in his journey despite the setback. In his message, he acknowledged the disappointment but remained grounded, saying, "We couldn't get it done. Thank you, Doha, for the memories. Thank you to my team, my family, and my friends who stand by me no matter what. And thank you to everyone who continues to support me. Alhamdulillah for everything. I'm blessed to be here. We have work to do." His words highlight the mindset of a veteran who understands that losses are part of the sport, especially at the highest level of MMA. Belal has always been known for his work ethic, discipline, and ability to bounce back from adversity. This defeat, rather than discouraging him, appears to have fueled a deeper motivation to return stronger. His expression of gratitude toward the fans, the city of Doha, and his inner circle, shows how much he values the people who have contributed to his career and supported him through highs and lows. Belal's statement also underscores his spiritual perspective. By saying, "Alhamdulillah for everything," he emphasizes acceptance of both victory and defeat as part of a larger journey. It's a reminder of his grounded personality and the role faith plays in keeping him focused and resilient. Following UFC Doha, many fans and fighters commended Belal for handling the loss with class. His message reinforces that sentiment. Rather than making excuses or blaming circumstances, Belal chose to credit his opponent and take responsibility for the outcome while promising to return to the gym with renewed focus. For a fighter who has consistently competed against elite competition, this moment may serve as a reset, an opportunity to reassess, rebuild, and come back with improvements. Belal's career has always been defined by persistence, and his statement suggests that this chapter will be no different. His supporters can expect him to regroup, evolve, and continue pushing toward the top of the welterweight division. Before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out, and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Ian Garry has spoken out about his backstage altercation with Khamzat Chimaev, offering a detailed explanation of what unfolded during UFC Fight Night. According to Garry, the incident began shortly after he went backstage to congratulate Arman Tsarukyan on his victory. He recalls approaching Tsarukyan first, showing respect for his performance, before turning to Khamzat Chimaev, who was also present. Garry says he greeted Chimaev politely, telling him, "Hey champ, what's up? When are we going to see you back?" According to Ian, Chimaev responded casually with, "I don't know, brother. Whenever." Smash. Garry interpreted the exchange as friendly banter. Chimaev even tapped him on the back, which Ian took as a gesture of mutual respect. Moments later, however, the mood noticeably shifted. A security guard stepped between them, and Garry sensed tension rising without any clear reason. He explains that after the security guard stepped in, Chimaev suddenly changed his demeanor. Ian claimed that Khamzat tried to shove him, prompting Garry to confront him verbally. He told Chimaev, "You're meant to be a champion in this sport, but you're acting like a child." Garry says he reminded him that Tsarukyan had just secured a major victory and that Chimaev's aggressive behavior was overshadowing his teammates' moment. Garry believes the situation stemmed from what he calls little energy, a need to appear tough and dominant even when it isn't necessary. He emphasized that Chimaev, as a top contender and global star, doesn't need to prove his toughness in hallway scuffles. Ian criticized the emotional outburst and said fighters at that level should carry themselves with composure, professionalism, and respect. "You're the champion of the world," Ian remarked. "No one needs to see you be tough backstage. Just be a man." Chimaev also shared his side of the story during the post-fight media session. He claimed Garry tapped him from behind in a way he found disrespectful. "If you want to show respect, touch somebody respectfully," Chimaev said. He accused Garry of trying to create hype and compared him to someone trying to imitate Conor McGregor, insisting Garry would never replicate that level of star power. Both fighters clearly saw the exchange differently, but the tension between them is now undeniable, setting the stage for a heated rivalry should they ever meet inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Dricus du Plessis has weighed in on Islam Makhachev's dominant performance against Jack Della Maddalena, drawing an unexpected comparison to his own fight with Khamzat Chimaev. Speaking in an interview with Fight Forecast, the UFC middleweight champion broke down what he saw in Makhachev's win and why it reminded him of the challenges he faced inside the octagon against Chimaev. According to du Plessis, the stylistic matchup played a major role in the outcome. He explained that he anticipated the fight would be difficult for JDM, predicting that Islam's grappling-heavy approach would present problems. "We called it last weekend," Dreykus said. "I knew it was going to be a tough fight. It just looked like Islam had an answer for everything JDM threw at him. No matter what Jack tried, striking exchanges, scrambles, or attempts to create space, Islam shut it down immediately." Du Plessis went on to say that the dynamic felt familiar, almost like déjà vu, because it resembled his own experience stepping into the cage with Khamzat Chimaev. "If you look at that fight," he explained, "it kind of looked a lot like my fight against Chimaev. These guys have a style that needs to be figured out. That's just the way the sport goes." He elaborated further on the broader pattern within the UFC. "Throughout its history," he said, "the sport goes through phases shaped by specific dominant styles. We've seen this across the entire timeline of the UFC," Du Plessis said. "You go through eras of the game. Right now, these Russian-style wrestlers have something above the rest when it comes to wrestling, grappling, and controlling fighters on the floor." While acknowledging that this approach is not always the most exciting for fans seeking high-paced striking battles or knockout-heavy performances, Du Plessis emphasized that results speak for themselves. "It's definitely not the entertainment people always want to see," he admitted. "But if that's how they want to win and that's how they do win, then that's the way they do it." For Du Plessis, the takeaway is simple. Wrestling-heavy fighters like Makhachev and Chimaev continue to set the standard in their divisions. Until their opponents crack the code, their dominance will remain a defining feature of the current era in MMA. Move on to another news. Ilia Topuria ignited fresh tension with Arman Tsarukyan after posting a video of the two encountering each other backstage, claiming Arman froze up and did nothing when confronted. Sharing the clip on X, Topuria wrote a heated message aimed directly at the lightweight contender. He said, "Arman, every time we see each other in person, you freeze up like a scared duck with no idea what to do. You know I handle you however I want. I fight whoever the UFC chooses. And remember, I slapped you and you just laughed. Then you go around acting like a gangster. So keep going. You're on the right path, just a few levels below me, kid." The post immediately stirred up reaction across the MMA community, prompting Arman Tsarukyan to fire back with a sharp response of his own. According to Arman, what Topuria called a slap was nothing more than a light touch on the neck. "Bro, you touched my neck like we were taking a family photo, and now you're calling it a slap online," he wrote. "The clip is clear. Your insecurities are even clearer. I don't need to act tough on Twitter. My work is inside the cage. If you want to know what a real slap feels like, I'll be happy to educate you. See you soon." Tsarukyan then continued speaking on the potential matchup, addressing Topuria's reluctance to mention his name directly. He claimed that Ilia had previously said he would vacate the title if forced to fight him, and that such behavior only confirmed Arman's position as the top contender. "He should leave that title and give me anybody," Arman said. "I'm not looking for easy fights. UFC knows I'm open to anybody. He's trying not to call my name. He knows the #1 fighter is me." When asked about his availability for a quick turnaround, Arman made it clear he was ready to go. He confirmed he took no significant damage in his recent bout and could fight for the title as early as January. "Of course," he said, "I can rest 1 week, fly to the US, and stay there 2 months. That's enough time to get ready. I'm healthy, thank God, and if they announce it Tuesday, I'm ready. Vegas, Los Angeles, anywhere." Arman's message was simple. He wants the title shot, he's prepared for Topuria, and he's willing to step into the cage as soon as the UFC gives the green light. Move on to another news. Arman Tsarukyan responded with genuine excitement and gratitude after learning he had earned a $50,000 performance bonus for his submission victory over Dan Hooker. Following his impressive finish, Tsarukyan spoke to reporters backstage, and his reaction captured a mixture of relief, pride, and appreciation for the acknowledgement of his hard work. Arman explained that he went into the fight knowing he needed to make a statement. Facing a veteran like Hooker, he understood that a dominant win could push him closer to a title opportunity. When he was informed during the post-fight interviews that he had secured one of the UFC's performance bonuses, Tsarukyan couldn't hide his smile. He thanked the UFC for recognizing the effort he put into preparing for the matchup and emphasized how meaningful the bonus was, not just financially, but as validation of his growth as a fighter. He spoke about the journey leading up to the fight, explaining that his training camp had been one of the most focused of his career. Tsarukyan described countless hours spent drilling grappling transitions, refining his striking, and studying Hooker's tendencies. "When you work that hard and you finish a guy like Dan Hooker," he said, "it feels good to know the UFC saw it the same way the fans did. The bonus means a lot." Arman also shared a lighthearted moment, joking that the $50,000 bonus would help fund his upcoming training camps and maybe even give him a chance to treat his team to a proper celebration. He credited his coaches, training partners, and family for their constant support and said the reward was as much theirs as it was his. Despite the celebration, Tsarukyan made it clear he remains focused on bigger goals. He emphasized that while bonuses are great, his ultimate objective is to become a UFC champion. The win over Whittaker, and the bonus that came with it, only strengthened his confidence that he is on the right path. Arman ended his reaction by expressing gratitude to the fans who supported him and promised that even bigger performances are coming in the near future. Move on to another news. Robert Whittaker recently shared his thoughts on Paddy Pimblett's rise in the lightweight division and explained why he believes Paddy could eventually fight for the UFC lightweight title. While Whittaker is enthusiastic about Paddy's potential, he also emphasized that Pimblett still needs one major test before earning a championship opportunity. According to Whittaker, matchups with either Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira would be the perfect stepping stones to determine whether Paddy is truly ready for a title shot. Whittaker praised Pimblett's rapid improvement over the past year, saying his growth has been exponential. He pointed to Paddy's recent performances as proof of his evolving skill set and maturity inside the cage. In particular, Whittaker highlighted the way Pimblett dismantled his last opponent, noting how composed, sharp, and disciplined he looked. He recalled the build-up going into that fight, explaining that fans saw a different version of Paddy, more focused, more strategic, and more in control of his game plan. Because of this progression, Whittaker believes Paddy is closer to becoming a legitimate contender than many people realize. However, he maintains that a matchup with someone like Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira would answer all remaining questions. A fight with Oliveira, in Whittaker's view, would be especially intriguing because of how dangerous both men are on the ground. He described the potential matchup as crazy, and said that stylistically, the scrambles, submissions, and speed of transitions would be must-watch MMA. Whittaker also acknowledged how exciting a Pimblett versus Holloway fight would be. Holloway's pressure, volume, and durability would test Paddy's ability to handle elite-level striking over multiple rounds. It's the type of fight, Whittaker believes, that could transform Paddy from a rising star into a true championship contender. While discussing the lightweight picture, Whittaker added that at the very top of the division, the only fight that truly makes sense for the belt is Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria. But for Paddy Pimblett's path to the top, Whittaker made it clear, one big fight, either against Holloway or Oliveira, is the final step before he deserves a shot at UFC gold. Move on to another news. Georges St-Pierre has offered heartfelt advice to former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, encouraging him to consider stepping away from MMA while he is still near the top of the sport. During a recent conversation in New York, St-Pierre explained that he and Usman discussed the realities of aging as a fighter and the difficult decisions that come with the later stages of a championship career. According to St-Pierre, Usman mentioned he might go on one more stretch, indicating he still feels motivated to compete. GSP, who experienced similar emotions during his own retirement phase, responded with a mixture of respect and caution. He told Usman that while he understands the itch to keep fighting, there is immense value in retiring before the decline becomes too apparent. St-Pierre said his advice came from a place of admiration, not criticism. Do what you need to do, get it out of your system, but get out on top. The Canadian legend explained that walking away at the right moment is beneficial not only for long-term health but also from a business standpoint. Retiring as a champion, or even close to champion form, preserves legacy and keeps an athlete's marketability high. St-Pierre admitted that when a fighter retires on top, there is always the nagging feeling of having left money on the table. He described this as the ego talking, something he himself experienced when he stepped away from the UFC while still reigning as champion. However, St-Pierre emphasized that retiring on a winning streak can open far more doors than continuing past one's peak. He explained that athletes who leave the sport at the right time maintain a high brand value, which leads to business opportunities that can last for years. On the other hand, pushing too far, especially to the point of suffering multiple consecutive losses, can harm both legacy and financial potential. A 3-fight losing streak, St-Pierre noted, drastically changes how a fighter is perceived and limits the post-career opportunities that would otherwise be available. GSP concluded that while every fighter must make their own decision, he hopes Usman considers a strategic and graceful exit. He believes Usman has already accomplished historic achievements and should protect both his health and the legacy he has worked so hard to build.